All right, so today we are up to the last part of the hypothesis testing, also the last part of the probability and statistics, and the last part of the special course, so very significant this lesson. All right, so errors today. All right, so errors today. So whenever you come up with an hypothesis, you can't be 100% certain even when you test it, because it's 100% certain when you test it, because what we're doing here is based on probabilities, and so there's always some sort of chance that your conclusion you're going to draw is incorrect. So if, for example, here we're saying, okay, so if we test for a significance level of 5%, then there's a 5% chance that the conclusion's incorrect. All right, so we do that, and we do a 5%, we go, oh yeah, it fits in there, but still there's that little 5% chance that it might just be outside what we're thinking. So even though we're doing a 5% level, and so 95% of the time it's suggesting that, yep, this is in fact correct, there's always that one time that, or that 5% of times, where it's not. So we can say that there's two types of errors then in our hypothesis testing. So error type 1 is, say we've rejected the null hypothesis, so H0, we've rejected that, and we said, no, it doesn't fit into that 5%, but maybe that probability is not actually correct, and so we've rejected that when in fact we should have accepted it. So again, that's what we get to. We've talked about a couple of times, statistical significance. So it looks like it is statistically, but unfortunately the statistics led us in the wrong direction that time. And then the type 2 error, it's called is if the opposite. Obviously, we've done our statistics, we've accepted the null hypothesis, but unfortunately the statistics tell us, yes, accept it, but then it's not true. And so they're type 1. So type 1, you reject something when it's true. Type 2, you accept something when it's not true. So we can come up with this kind of table. Now, this word decision should be along the side here. Really, that word decision. So what's your decision that you're making? So that should be in here. So you accept or you reject the hypothesis. So the null hypothesis, there's two options. Either it's true or it's false. So if your decision is to accept the null hypothesis and it's true, then it's a correct decision. But if you've accepted it and it's not true, then that's a type 2 error. And the other side of the coin is if you've done your statistics and you've decided based on that you're going to reject the null hypothesis, well, if you do that and it's true, then that's a type 1 error. And if you reject it and it's false, well, that's the correct decision to make. And so this table here helps you decide what's going on. So here, for example, suppose we're testing a new drug for controlling a migraine, and the hypothesis is, the null hypothesis is that it's ineffective, and the alternative hypothesis is the drug's effective. So describe the type 1 and type 2 errors. So type 1 error is that you reject the null hypothesis, but the hypothesis is correct. So the type 1 error is you reject this So this is that the drug is ineffective, so we reject that. So we say that the drug is effective, when in actual case, it's not. And type 2 error is we accept it when it's false. So in the other, so you accept that the drug's ineffective when in fact it is effective. So that's what they would be for that particular thing. All right, so describe the 1 and 2s. So again, this table tells you what is type 1. We reject the hypothesis, but the hypothesis is correct. So in this case, we say, no, the drug is effective, but when in fact it's not. And a type 2 error is we go, yep, okay, yes, that's correct. The drug is ineffective, but in fact it is. All right, and so that's what I've tried to say there. And really, that is essentially it to do with the errors, the type of errors that you can make. All right, so effectively, type 1, you've rejected it when really you should have accepted it, but the statistics tell you to reject it. And type 2, you've accepted it when you should have rejected it. The statistics telling you to accept. So the statistics, it's made an error. So if we're looking at that 5%, it's way out here is where it is. All right, and that is it. So if there's any questions about that, not that there's a whole lot to it, it's mainly getting your head around the definitions of type 1 and type 2 errors. If you've got any questions, get back to me. And, of course, as always, have fun.